CTV News with Sarah Freemark.
With the salt shortage, it's tough for everybody around us.
Our region is still digging out from snow and ice, and now we're learning that another problem is emerging. Good evening. Municipal crews and local contractors are working to keep our roads safe as winter weather persists, but now road salt supplies are running low while demand remains high. CTV's Mike Lang starts us off tonight with more on how crews are grappling with this problem.
Another relentless winter thus far, contractors working around the clock to clear parking lots and walkways the same way municipalities have been working to clear roads, all of them relying on the same resource.
To have two salt shortages in one fiscal year it's a lot.
King's Company clears commercial properties in Barrie and Orillia. He says his cost has increased from around $100 a ton to nearly $200.
A lot of contractors are struggling to pay for their supplies if they can get it. A lot of them are going to struggle, and some of them probably will go bankrupt.
John Urbino's company does both, uses and supplies salt across Simcoe County. He says he's had to source from Montreal and sometimes across the globe in Egypt.
If you're ordering 4 loads, you're maybe getting 1. If you normally would use, 10 ton in a night as a contractor, you really have to watch how much you're using now.
Some contractors say they typically use from 1,000 to 2,000 tons of salt a year. The city of Barrie says it's already at 10,000 tons this season after a historic winter last year.
We were up to about 30,000 tons, and that's probably the most we've ever used.
The city would not disclose exactly how much it pays per ton of salt, but confirmed that it spends $1 to $2 million per year and is able to pay less per ton by buying large quantities on a fixed annual contract.
The municipalities surrounding us in the county all get the benefit of bulk buying, so we get good prices. We can lock in for a number of years.
Contractors are hoping for a couple of days above zero to allow the supply to catch up with the demand. In the meantime, some say they've had to resort to more of a salt combination with sand, and that consumers may end up paying more for services going forward. Mike Lang, CTV News, Barrie.
A major map change is now official here in Simcoe County. After a deal struck late last year, the city of Barrie officially annexed land from Oro-Medonte and Springwater Townships on January 1st. CTV's Luke Samard takes a look into what comes next for residents that are in those affected areas.
I declare the motion carried.
With lines drawn, the land has now been transferred. After the province passed Bill 76, the Barrie-Oro-Medonte Springwater Boundary Adjustment Act of 2025, after months of deliberation and controversy, the city took ownership January 1st. The boundary adjustment will see Barrie grow by nearly 4,100 acres into Springwater in Oro-Medonte, paving the way for 8,000 new homes and jobs for 23,000 people. The expansion impacts 2.3% of Springwater's land and 0.8% of Oro-Medonte land. Wards 1, 3, and 4 saw significant expansion. City staff say the work is being done for a seamless transition.
We hope that the public doesn't even notice a change in their level of service. We're phasing in the winter maintenance for a number of the roads over the next couple of months.
The city will now be responsible for Ferndale Drive North and Sunnydale Road, 5-6 Side Road, and Partridge Road. And while the mass of land is large, a small number of residents will be immediately affected.
It is a large area, but it is rural in nature with large properties, so we understand there's less than 200 people who are actually impacted in joining the city now.
Those affected will now have access to city services including fire, police, and bylaw, a waterfront parking pass, recreation programs and facilities, and the landfill. A 5-year phase-in for city taxes will be initiated starting this year.
We want to help residents if they do notice a change, or we want to help them understand what new services might be available to them now that they are part of the city.
For those with additional questions, the city will be holding an open house on January 15th from 3 to 7 p.m. Luke Samard, CTV News, Barrie.
A warning tonight from Simcoe-Muskoka District Health Unit. Thousands of local students could face suspension over immunization records. For more on this, let's go ahead and bring in CTV's Jack Morris. He's been following the details. Jack, what can you tell us?
Well, Sarah, it's 3,700 grade 3 and 4 students who could be suspended for having incomplete vaccination records. Under Ontario law, they need those records, and the students can be suspended if they're not brought forward by the deadline, that is February 3rd. The Simcoe Muskoka Health Unit says it's important they know exactly which students are vaccinated and for what. Even if your kid has had all their shots, the health unit might not know about it. Vaccination records are held by your doctor. You have to send them to the health unit yourself so staff can clear your kids to come to school. If your kid's record isn't up to date, you'll have gotten 2 letters in the last couple of months. You need to get those records into the school before that February 3rd deadline to make sure your kids can keep going.
At the end of the day, we don't want kids to be missing school. I have kids. It's a nightmare if they miss school, right? The whole household cannot work if they have to stay home because everyone's busy. So this is the time to try to dig out the records. If they're incomplete or they haven't got their updated immunizations, they can go to their healthcare provider to get their shots or give us a call.
According to the health unit, most of the students they don't have vaccination records for are vaccinated. For parents who aren't vaccinating their kids, you have to call the health unit to complete a non-medical exemption or talk to your doctor for a medical exemption. Reporting live, I'm Jack Moore. Sarah, back to you.
Okay, good information for parents. Let's talk about shopping at grocery stores because you may have noticed a new look to some of the food labels. That's because new Health Canada regulations have officially come into effect, requiring companies to state if their product is high in things like sugar, saturated fat, or sodium. Some grocery items are exempt from needing those labels. That includes fresh, raw fruits and vegetables, as well as fresh meat and poultry. Time now to take a look outside and see how the evening commute is this hour. Let's take that live shot. That's of Highway 400 along Essa Road from our CTV Barrie Tower camera. You can see that the roads are moving relatively clear tonight. Good visibility, hardly any cloud cover, but will that change? The man of the hour to let us know whether or not we should, in fact, expect a change is Casey. Are you okay out there? You look a little stunned. Is it because the temperatures are so mild today?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I really am. You can see your breath out here, and it is mild. But because of all the snow, the added moisture, you can see your breath right here, which is kind of fun. Did you enjoy the mild weather? It's going to get a whole lot milder. How mild? Well, I'll let you know here. Let's get into it, shall we? With the first look at the forecast brought to you by Presler Injury Law. Call 1-800-JUSTICE. 2 degrees out here, Sarah. 2 degrees in the garden, 33 Beacon Road. Beautiful Barrie, Ontario. Winds are light for the time being out at the southeast, 11 kilometers an hour. This is a look at the mild temperatures after 6. And we're 6 in Owen Sound and 6 in Collingwood, 4 in Toronto, 4 in Alliston, 4 in Mount Forest, and 1 lonely degree in Gravenhurst up there today. Beautiful Gravenhurst. Radar satellite images, and yes, we could see some stars this evening, but increasing cloud cover, and I said it was going to get a whole lot milder. Well, tomorrow, we're still about 4 degrees away from record warmth here in Barrie, but coming up, I'll let you know who could be breaking records. Yes, records for warmth in January? Oh, yes. All that coming up. A few minutes' time back inside. Sarah.
We'll take it. Thanks, Casey. A brief break in the snow has given our region a chance to catch up on clearing it all. So, over the last few days, crews in Orillia hauled more than 210 truckloads of snow out of the downtown core and are now moving onto main roads. It's the 5th day of snow clearing for Barrie. It's normally only a 2-day job, but crews have been working since Sunday night now to clear the serious buildup, much of which is downtown. Many were out for the opening day of trout fishing, late trout fishing, myself included. But despite the cold temperatures that we have felt for most of December, police are reminding enthusiasts that no ice is safe ice. Here's CTV's Rob Cooper with more on where our region stands.
Some people were getting an extra early start on the weekend by hitting the ice on Lake Simcoe for some fishing.
I'm going to go out, yeah. I'm going to go out. I got my float suit, so I've got some precautions with me, and yeah, we'll see. I'll check my way out there, see if it's safe, and set up and spend the day there.
People are being warned by York Regional Police's Marine Unit to be aware it's a risky time to be out in many spots on the lake.
As police officers, we would never tell anyone the ice is safe. Everyone has to check for themselves.
The YRP Marine Unit took this video from its helicopter last week over Roaches Point in Georgina. That's Snake Island in the background. The video clearly shows a mixture of ice and open water. Police and ice hut operators say this kind of inconsistency is normal for this time of year. Police warning people about the short-term weather forecast too.
As we all know, the weather is getting warmer the next couple of days. Really, no ice is consistent.
There are dozens of ice huts out in Cooks Bay near Guildford, an area that often gets ice first because of its protection from the wind and its shallow waters. Ice hut operators reporting up to 8 inches in some spots.
We're fortunate to be in the shelter of Cook Bay and have this thick layer of ice, but there's all sorts of places on the ice. I've got reports of 4 inches in other places, and with this warm spell coming, there's going to be lots of places that will be unsafe.
You got to be really, really careful, guys. It's not the time to go adventure. It's not the time to go play out there, you know. Stick to known paths, known trails, and of course have all your safety gear on you at all times. Bring a spud, bring a bud, have flotation, guys.
Many people by the lake today came prepared not just for their safety, but for the big catch too.
We're going for ice fishing, and we're going to catch something big. A whale, shark, probably, or something like this kind.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So anyone planning to head out anywhere on any waterway in our area this season is being reminded to always check and double check before going out. As the experts say, the ice conditions on a big lake like Simcoe is always different from one location to the other. And of course, make sure you always take the proper safety precautions. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Guildford.
The Ontario government is one step closer to bringing back the Northlander with the arrival of 3 new train sets. The Northlander will run 740 kilometres with 16 stops between Toronto and Timmins with a connection to Cochrane. The line was cancelled back in 2012, but officials say bringing back the service will connect northern communities, support local industries, and create some good-paying jobs.
Back in the previous government, they ignored the North. They didn't give two hoots about the North. We care about the people in the North. It's an economic driver. Things are moving forward rapidly, especially in the mining sector and the Ring of Fire, right across the North. And people can't be stranded. Right now, when they canceled that train, they left people desolate. Like it's terrible. So now we're bringing great transportation.
The Northlander is now undergoing testing in Toronto before heading north for corridor testing and is expected to return to service in 2026. Meanwhile, the fight over the redevelopment of Ontario Place in Toronto is going to the country's highest court. The Supreme Court of Canada has agreed to hear an appeal from a group trying to block the redevelopment project at the waterfront park. The development includes plans for a controversial spa that would be owned by a private company. The Ontario Place Protectors Group challenged the Ford government's Rebuilding Ontario Place Act, saying the law breaches public trust by violating environmental and heritage laws, as well as municipal noise regulations. Prime Minister Mark Carney is planning to host Canada's premiers in Ottawa later this month. This as trade tensions with the U.S. remain in the spotlight. Senior government sources tell CTV News that the First Minister's meeting will take place on January 29th, just over a month after the last meeting. The discussions come as Canada, the U.S. and Mexico gear up for the review of the North American Free Trade Deal. That's later this year. Today, on the 6th anniversary of the Flight PS 752 tragedy, Ontario is putting forth an investment to help build a memorial to honor the victims. The province announcing $350,000 to create a space of remembrance in Richmond Hill's Unity Park that is slated to open in 2027. It will honor the 176 people killed, including 55 Canadians, when the Ukrainian International Airlines flight was shot down in 2020 by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Shortly after taking off from Tehran, 44 of the victims had strong ties to Richmond Hill, making it the city's largest single-day loss of life. The Trump administration is suspending America's support for 66 international organizations as the U.S. further retreats from the global cooperation. For more on what this means and how it impacts Canada, here's CTV's senior political correspondent, Mike LeCouture.
The Secretary General regrets the announcement by the White House.
While expressing disappointment at the move by the U.S., the UN spokesperson also stressed that funding to a large number of United Nations bodies is mandatory for the United States.
Member states who've who've joined this club have to pay the dues.
The U.S. is the top contributor to the international body's budget, but the UN says Washington currently owes some $1.5 billion. Now, in a memo shared by the White House, the decision to withdraw the U.S. from 66 UN and international organizations came after a review of which ones are thought to be contrary to the interests of the United States. The list includes the Commission for Environmental Cooperation, the Global Counterterrorism Forum, and others, including the International Cotton Advisory Committee and the International Tropical Timber Organization.
The U.S. has been complaining for many years of the mismanagement of a lot of those organizations, the fact that, in fact, there are problems with their objectives, but also how they run.
The former Canadian diplomat points out the U.S. has not stepped away from major organizations like the World Bank and the UN Refugee Agency, but it is a blow to groups that did have American support. In a statement to CTV News, the executive secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change called the move a colossal own goal, adding it can only harm the U.S. economy, jobs, and living standards as wildfires, floods, megastorms, and droughts get rapidly worse. While the Canadian government hasn't commented on the U.S.'s move, a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry said the value of international organizations lies in upholding shared interests, not national self-interest. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
NASA is taking the rare step of ending a space mission early and returning a crew on board the International Space Station to Earth.
Yesterday, January 7th, a single crew member on board the station experienced a medical situation and is now stable. After discussions with Chief Health and Medical Officer Dr. J.D. Polk and leadership across the agency, I've come to the decision that it's in the best interest of our astronauts to return Crew 11 ahead of their planned departure.
The crew is comprised of 2 Americans, 1 Russian and 1 Japanese astronaut, but due to privacy concerns, NASA won't say which astronaut is affected or the nature of the medical situation. And we do have some sad news to share out of our region today. A leading community icon has died. The Mariposa Folk Festival confirming today that its founder, Ruth Jones McVeigh, passed away, leaving behind 6 children. McVeigh is known for bringing a boost of tourism to the Sunshine City, having launched the All-Canadian Music Festival back in 1961. A dazzling sight filled the morning sky. That was in western Greenland earlier today. An airport camera about 50 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle caught these northern lights. Apparently, the area gets about 300 clear nights a year, making it one of the best places to see the phenomenon. The aurora borealis is caused by disturbances in the Earth's magnetosphere. And a marriage proposal. It is supposed to be unforgettable, but not for this reason.
I was in complete shock. I can't believe I did that. All that money, oh my God. I just ruined her proposal.
I just laughed because this was such a Trevor thing to do. I think I was just more or less like, oh crap, what do we do next?
Poor Trevor. One groom-to-be popped the question on a suspension bridge in Michigan, but the ring slipped right through the fingers, falling 30 meters below. Now, they searched for the ring for a few hours before going home empty-handed. However, a Boyne Mountain Resort employee came to the rescue using a metal detector to track it down and return it to the couple. Speaking of proposals, tying the knot on the day of love. Next here on CTV Barrie, couples in Innisfil can once again say their I do's, and the vows will help fill the community fridge. Plus, saving animals from the north and finding them homes right here in our region. How you can help these 96 animals and the organization that rescued them. Stay with us. That's next. Thanks for staying with us. Nearly 100 animals are getting a second chance thanks to a rescue group right here in our region. Lost Boys Hope Rescue has just wrapped up a 4-day mission saving dogs and cats from northern communities where vet care is hard to find. 90 dogs and 6 cats who are all once stray or surrendered are now safe and in their care, all on the path to finding a loving home.
We have hundreds of thousands of stray dogs in northern Canada that we're trying to help. We always need foster homes. Like I said, that's how they came here. We couldn't have done it without all of our foster volunteers and the rest of the people that volunteer here at Lost Boys. We need, obviously, dog food, puppy food, adult food, all of the time, because we have over, 150 dogs currently.
The organization is now in its 10th year of rescuing animals. And we have spoken about a few different ways to dispose of your Christmas tree once you're over that festive feeling. Well, this one helps the animals. Instead of bringing it to the curb, you can donate it to the Aspen Valley Wildlife Sanctuary and they help out injured or orphaned animals. The rescue says that if you drop off a clean, real tree, can be reused as enrichment, providing stimulation, shelter, and help keep animals active and engaged during the winter months. This Valentine's Day, the town of Innisfil is once again inviting lovebirds to seal the deal, all while helping their community at the same time.
You may now kiss your bride. Couples bring their guests and their family and their friends to watch and celebrate with them. It does get to be a very busy day, back-to-back ceremonies, and lots and lots of love.
The Share the Love campaign is an opportunity for couples to get married or renew their vows inside the Innisfil Council chambers on February 14th, with all the money from the Civil Marriage Service going directly to the Choice Scott Community Fridges.
Couples are, giving back to the community that they live in, work in, and sometimes from outside of Innisfil as well. And it's a really, really important thing to donate to, because there are a lot of families and people struggling, and we're really happy to support them.
Last year, 14 wedding ceremonies were celebrated, each costing about $400, raking in a good chunk of funds to support the barrier-free community fridges and pantries. If you're looking for additional information about any of these local events, perhaps you'd like to rewatch a report during the 60 or 30-minute newscast, all of that can be done at ctvnews.ca/barrier. Scan that QR code on your screen. 2025 was a tumultuous year in the real estate world, with high inventory but a lack of consumer confidence. So time now to look at the year ahead. Joining us is real estate broker Peggy Hill. Let's talk about getting that confidence back. How do we do it?
That's a tough one, Sarah. You know, there's so much coming at people right now. Like every day they turn on the news and there's a lot coming at them all the time. So I think times need to get better. We need a little more certainty in this country as to what tariffs are going to look like, what AI is finally going to look like. So until we get some answers, and mostly to tariff and what our world is going to look like, I think consumer confidence is going to be a struggle. And consumer confidence has been down. In fact, there was times last year that it was down further than when it was down in the pandemic, when we knew nothing of what was going on. So that's how much this has all impacted Canadians and people in general. And just, I mean, it's no different in the States. They're kind of in the same boat. So yeah, until we get some kind of, a surety of what's happening, people are going to be cautious. There's still buyers out there. They're just cautious.
According to the Toronto Real Estate Board, housing sales in the city, anyway, lowest since 2000. Are we experiencing a similar climate here in our region?
We've experienced something similar. Their prices are higher, so we've benefited from the first-time buyer, in the influx of the first-time buyers. So we have benefited from that, where Toronto wouldn't benefit from such a thing. But to be honest, we struggled too. I know, like year over year, sales were down 6.4%. Month over month, so the sales from November to December, they were down 25%, but we had a lot of bad weather in December too. So, we are very affected seasonally, and they're very affected price point wise. Prices though, I mean, it could have been worse. Year over year, prices in Simcoe County were down almost 11%. So that could have looked a lot worse, but I'll take the 11. And at some point, when things built up to a certain level, then once sales come back, then prices will also come back because they've stopped building.
How do we get there?
Yeah, the thing is, we're gonna, no matter what, we are gonna get there because they have stopped building. They're building purpose-built rentals, so the rental market is going to feel a drag this year. prices will come down. But as far as single-family homes, they're not building any. So if I were selling my home and I was getting out of this market, would I do it today? No, I would wait a few years and then sell it, because there will come a time when we are going to be right back into the supply issue.
If you're at home and you have questions for Peggy, we're going to extend an email address, barrienews@ctv.ca. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talking about the weather. It's not so bad today.
Nope.
But of course, we'll leave that to Case. Outside to you.
Aha! Potential record warm temperatures tomorrow in Owen Sound, Richmond Hill, Orangeville, and Newmarket. Excited? Our weather watcher Artis says, calm down. Bernadette gives us, the picture-perfect calm winter moment. Nicely done. You're watching CTV News Barrie.
The Real Estate Spotlight is brought to you by the Peggy Hill team. Picture this, brought to you by Bounce 1041 and Pure Country 106.
We have been showcasing how you are all enjoying 2026. However you are kicking off the new year, please do continue to send us those photos. Picture this at ctv.ca. Now, Casey, as you know, I like to try and get out on January 1st with my dad because it is the opening day for lake trout fishing. I should specify that. This year in the Ottawa Valley, it was -16. As usual, we didn't get a bite, and yet I'm a glutton for punishment and keep coming back for more.
The only bite you got was frost, eh? That was about it. -16 with the wind chill in the valley.
And some good memories, that's for sure, too. And we did watch a few people pull their sleigh by, and they had fish. So we at least know that they're in the lake. We just haven't figured out how to get them.
We got into doing a little ice fishing in this area. There's lots of whitefish, certainly Kempenfelt Bay, and not much ice right now. It is that mild that it's really not that safe to go out. Let's talk about the weather and how mild it truly is. I think we're looking at a hot spot tomorrow, about 11 degrees in Richmond Hill. Right now, it's we were coming in probably somewhere in the air about 2 degrees in Richmond Hill right now. 2 degrees in Orillia, 2 in Parry Sound, 6. Holding on steady to 6 degrees in and around Georgian Bay, Collingwood, and Owen Sound. 4 degrees in Mount Forest, and call it 3 degrees in the Big Smoke. This is the almanac. 2 and 0, that's the high, that's the low. On this date, 11.7 back in 2008. That's record high. Record low, I don't want to talk about it. No, there it is there on the screen. 7:53 it rises, 4:58 it sets. 9 hours and 4 minutes of daylight. Roll that forecast radar and, well, a little bit more rain. A little bit? Well, yeah, a little bit. And then we finish off with a little snow. That's what it's starting to look like as far as our forecast radar. Let's break it down, take a look at some of the numbers and explain. This is southern tip of Georgian Bay, Lake Simcoe. Winds gusting as the evening progresses, 30 to 50 k out of the south. Low-lying fog and 5 to 10 millimeters of rainfall expected this evening. And then for tomorrow, hey, it could be a record. No Owen Sound, 10 degrees tomorrow. Yeah, but another 5 millimeters of rainfall expected. Winds changing to the west, 30 to 60 k, and some drizzle for us to enjoy. Yeah, the windshield wipers never stop. Just keep using that windshield wiper juice. 3-2, that's what we're looking at for Orangeville, Bradford, Georgina, Newmarket, Richmond Hill. Overnight temperatures, low-lying fog, increasing cloud, and a little bit of rain on the way. And then for tomorrow, 10, 11 degrees, could be a record in Richmond Hill. And ladies and gentlemen, there's a chance of even a thunderstorm tomorrow morning. Not very often do I have the opportunity to say that in January. Parry Sound, Huntsville, Bracebridge, Gravenhurst, Haliburton, 1 and 2 degrees. Overnight, low-lying fog. Expect about 5 millimeters of rainfall as skies increase in cloud cover. And then for tomorrow, 7 and 8 degrees, a rain drizzle mix. 5 to 10 millimeters of rainfall, and it's going to be a gusty 40 to 60 k wind out of the southeast tomorrow. tomorrow afternoon as we dive into the evening. That's diving into tonight and tomorrow. Now, time for the Diamond and Diamond Lawyers 5-day extended forecast, and I want to talk about a little snow. There it is there. Simcoe. Remember the snow? Here it comes. On Saturday, starts off with some mild, a little rain, and then it changes to flurry activity. Could see as much as 5 centimeters overnight, and then Sunday, 1 to 3 centimeters. The high, -3. Yes, there is certainly a good chance of some snow on Sunday. Monday, well, a slight chance of a few flurries kicking around under cloudy skies, -2, back up to 0 on cloudy skies on the Tuesday. This is the 5-day extended forecast for York Region. 5 to 10 centimeters of snow on Saturday late afternoon into the evening. Okay, so the rain changing to snow, and it's piling up. And Sunday arrives, slight chances of flurry activity below the freezing mark, below the freezing mark again on the Monday under cloudy skies, and the cloud wants to stick around till Tuesday, 1 degree above the freezing mark. This is Muskoka, Parry Sound, Haliburton. Saturday cloudy, 60% chance. Again, we start off with some rain and it transitions to snow. 5 to 10 centimeters of accumulation expected overnight, and then Sunday arrives, 1 to 3 centimeters of snow expected. Monday and Tuesday still cloudy, slight chance of some flurry activity on the Monday, and just cloudy skies for us to enjoy on the Tuesday. So that is our thaw. We're back into the snow. So Sarah, I know that makes you happy. You love the slopes.
It's true. Unfortunately, I'm not getting any better. Now, the start of the year, however, is a perfect time to try something new. And if you know a young person who has an interest in theater and is looking for an exciting, fun introduction, it's showtime. The Soul Stars Theatre Company in Bolton welcomes those aged 6 to 25 years old to be a part of its new musical, Once Upon a Choice, a collaboration with an original script and songs from Broadway musicals. It's all about fun with professional instruction, ending in a polished performance for parents in the spring.
A lot of the time they don't know what they're doing when they start. There's only a few that actually, have had practice in different theater or dance. A lot of them just come in because they're creatives, but by the end of it, they come out super confident.
Once Upon a Choice, an original musical tale, starts rehearsing February 18th until May 27th at Hit That Note Musical Studio in Bolton. Looks like a ton of fun, but I might be just a little too old. Dining out. It is becoming a luxury for many families. Some are having difficulty, quite frankly, just buying groceries. Now, as CTV's Pat Foran reports, many will still dine out for special occasions, but that may not be enough to keep thousands of restaurants from closing.
When it comes to spending money in restaurants, more people say they're trying to watch their finances and eat at home.
Definitely, yeah. We have been watching how much we're spending on eating out at restaurants.
I will try to go to fewer restaurants this year, I think, just given the prices.
Prices has gone up a lot.
In the last couple of years, it's been extremely difficult for restaurants in general.
According to a study from Dalhousie University, last year in Canada, 7,000 restaurants closed and went out of business. The university is now projecting another 4,000 restaurants will shut their doors this year. Sylvain Charlebois says consumers are becoming more frugal with their food budgets.
If they do dine out, they'll dine in at home, order in, or get food delivered to avoid the tips, to avoid the expensive bottle of wine and things like that.
Along with rising food prices and inflation, Restaurants Canada also blames increasing costs for rent, insurance, and wages. The group says 41% of restaurants are operating at a loss or barely breaking even, but they're trying to keep their prices low because they know customers are watching their budgets.
There's an affordability challenge for Canadians right now. There's less discretionary spending, so less discretionary spending means pulling back on restaurant spending.
Last year, when there was a 2-month tax break on restaurant meals, prepared foods, snacks, and some alcoholic beverages, restaurants saw an increase in sales of 10%. Restaurant Canada says the tax break should be brought back and made permanent.
Let's remove GST off of food. Why are we taxing food? We just think that is a poor public policy.
Charlebois agrees.
I would say we need to eliminate all taxes on food, no matter where it's consumed.
Another reason restaurant sales are down is Canadians are drinking less, and alcohol sales are a profitable category for the hospitality industry. Pat Foran, CTV News.
On the other side of the break, digging deeper into our $583 million goods trades deficit. We'll take a look at Canada's focus on domestic investment and efforts to lessen the country's reliance on shipments to the U.S. That, plus we'll recap tonight's top stories. Stay with us.
Hi, we're Martin and Steph
from Bounce 104.1.
And next week on the show, we are giving away pairs of tickets to see Triumph at Scotiabank Arena.
So make sure you're listening weekdays from 5:30.
Time now to recap our top stories. Some contractors in Simcoe County are saying that road salt supplies are running low while demand remains high and the cost has increased from around $100 a ton to nearly $200. The city of Barrie says it's already at 10,000 tons this season. After a deal was struck late last year, the city of Barrie officially annexed land from Oro-Medonte and Springwater townships on January 1st. Those affected will now have access to city services, including fire, police, and bylaw, a waterfront parking pass, rec programs and facilities, and landfill. And after weeks of cold temperatures, many are anxious to get out on the ice, but police are reminding enthusiasts that no ice is safe ice. Local ice fishing businesses have some huts out, but many areas still aren't safe, and people are encouraged to always check, especially before snowmobiling. Modest signs that Canada's trade numbers are stabilizing. October saw little change in the trade balance and a smaller deficit. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports as this all comes ahead of a key ruling.
Are they legal or are they not?
That's the big question that could be answered by the United States Supreme Court Friday about the American president's decision to impose so-called IEEPA tariffs. That's the International Emergency Economic Power Act on countries including Canada. This trade expert says impacted businesses should make sure to keep all paperwork.
Will the Supreme Court say that those tariffs that have been collected, if they are in fact illegal, then what happens to the money that's been collected to date? If it's supposed to then go back to those who it has been collected from illegally, then our clients and businesses in general will be looking to see some of that money refunded.
There's not a lot of optimism about a likely messy refund situation. Meanwhile, new numbers from October show Canada recorded a smaller than expected trade deficit overall.
The big takeaway is that things are kind of not moving all that much with the U.S. in terms of overall trade. They're kind of in a holding pattern. What we saw in contrast is that exports were through the roof for non-U.S. countries that we're sending goods to.
Donald Trump is still extolling the virtues of tariffs, posting Tuesday, "Thank you, Mr. Tariff. Pray that the United States Supreme Court allows our country to continue its unprecedented march toward unparalleled greatness."
I think that the U.S. administration is going to continue to impose tariffs, irrespective of the outcome.
The Supreme Court's decision could also send a broader message about the American president's power.
Is the Supreme Court going to signal that even though there are other potential tariff legislation in the U.S. that the president could use, that maybe those are not going to be good either?
The Canadian government isn't saying much about the expected ruling. A source tells CTV News they are letting the judicial process follow its course and will continue to get ready for the upcoming free trade review. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Now to our markets. Canada's main stock index saw a jump in early morning trading thanks to industrial and telecommunication gains. Here's a look at the numbers as they closed on this Thursday. The TSX was up 243 points, the Dow was up 270, and the Nasdaq was down 104. In commodities, oil was up, closing at $57.76 a barrel. Gold was down, finishing up $4,460 an ounce, and our dollar down, ending the day at 72.12 cents U.S. Canadian Airlines pulled back in a big way from the U.S. over the past year, boosting flight volumes elsewhere. Figures from aviation data firm Cirium show carriers increased service to the Caribbean and South America, with Air Canada up 20% and WestJet up 81% year over year. Experts say that political tensions and U.S. trade policies have dampened Canadian demand for U.S. travel, forcing airlines to compete more heavily in other markets. Airlines show no sign of a rebound, with scheduled schedules indicating a further 15% drop in cross-border flights early this year. Moviegoers will soon have a chance to catch a flick on the big screen for less than $4. Cineplex announced the return of its Family Favorites program running on Saturdays. That'll start on January 17th, offering $3.99 tickets to select screenings at participating locations, and that includes Galaxy Cinemas here in Barrie. Some films offered included at that discounted price are Madagascar, The King of Kings, and The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Still to come, a brand new Canadian television show, and it's taking the world by storm. How it's changing attitudes both on and off the ice. You're watching CTV News Barrie. Here's a look at your Thursday night primetime lineup. We've got 4 back-to-back episodes of The New Girl starting at 8, followed by Criminal Minds at 10 p.m. and CTV News Barrie at 11. There is a buzz on about a Canadian hockey drama called Heated Rivalry, a show described as shifting the conversation over inclusivity in sports. CTV's Heather Wright has more on its rise to becoming an international sensation in just weeks.
And welcome to the show, Heated Rivalry.
Hudson Williams sat down on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night and cracked a Canada dry. His Heated Rivalry character's beverage of choice and a reminder of where one of the biggest shows on the planet comes from.
Is it sinking in how big this show is? No.
Showcasing the 2 most talked about prospects in the world.
Heated Rivalry, the breakout show about hockey rivals that develop an off-ice romance, debuted last fall, winning praise for its heartfelt depiction of LGBTQ2S+ relationships and sparking discussions about representation in both TV and sport.
To have this kind of a romance story portrayed inside the context of men's professional hockey at the highest level, I think will have an impact.
The show has exploded in popularity, the talk of group chats and Tinseltown.
You guys made amazing original shows that everyone couldn't stop talking about until that gay hockey show from Canada came along.
And go ahead, Connor.
The show is an all-Canadian export, based on a book by a Canadian author, set in Canada, filmed in Canada, and produced by Crave, a subsidiary of Bell Media, which also owns CTV. Film critic Richard Krause says Heated Rivalry is an example that Canada can be more than just Hollywood North.
We're not just a production house for Hollywood productions to come here and shoot things. We can generate shows that can find a global audience.
Heated Rivalry has been picked up for a second season. That is the good news for fans. The bad news is that season 2 is not set to be released until next year. Heather Wright, CTV News.
All right, Case, before we get into the get up and go, I can't believe how many people are teasing me about bathing the cat, including you. Stopped me in the parking lot today. He was at the farm. He was dirty. Don't you wash the animal if they get a little dirty?
Sure, you're from the country. I'm a city boy. I just follow the lead, but I don't know if we're going to have too many cat washing stations opening up across the city of Barrie. Maybe we do. Maybe you're under a burgeoning business here.
It's not typical, and he's not allowed outside within city limits. It's strictly a valley thing, which is why he simply hates when we have to return home to Barrie.
Goes in the valley, or goes on in the valley, stays in the valley. How about the get up and go? That goes across our region. First thing tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. 5 degrees in Barrie. We're looking at a little rain, a little thunderstorm activity in Newmarket, certainly possible, and 5 degrees, some shower activity. And as we work our way up to Gravenhurst, a little rain and drizzle, and 4 degrees for the high at 7 o'clock. Sarah, have yourself a clean, wonderful evening.
What happens in the valley will, moving forward, stay in the valley. That is our newscast on this Thursday. I'm Sarah Freemark. Thanks for being here with us. Jack will wrap things up tonight. Take care.